My name's Gary Phillips, and we're here at the Bentley Coliseum. It's everything is done with tongue-in-cheek around here. That's what we've started calling it, and a lot of people just call it the chicken house. It started out as a real chicken house, and that's what we're into right now. Okay, I'm a 74-year-old ex-sheet metal worker. I've had a company of my own for several years. Worked for other people around the city of Wichita for years, and I've always wanted to collect enough sheet metal equipment so that I could do any kind of work I wanted to once I got out of the trade and retired, and that's basically what I've done. I ended up with a lot of sheet metal equipment and stuff that I could use to do the hobby stuff that I wanted to do once I did retire. I started out doing sheet metal work when I was 18 years old down in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I worked for my uncle down there, and I worked for several sheet metal shops since then, and ended up in Wichita, Kansas, and did all kinds of exterior sheet metal, ductwork, and all that stuff. And a lot of that stuff is just kind of boring, but I've always wanted to do the arts and crafts type sheet metal work, and I've started doing that in my later life there. I've seen a lot of people, around arts and crafts fairs. It always did intrigue me, the things that other people could do with sheet metal. And so I started getting some of the equipment that I could do some of the things that I've always wanted to do. Plasma cutter, I've got all kinds of sheet metal brakes and shears, and just anything that's got anything to do with sheet metal. Antique sheet metal equipment and newer type sheet metal equipment too. But I've got it where I can, do the kind of work that I want to do. So that's basically what I'm enjoying doing right now. Everything that I could do was completely out of the box. There was no plans, any kind of specifications or anything like that, because I'd done that all my life with the sheet metal shops, and being able to just do something that came out of my old head. It was just a lot more fun to me not to have some boss telling me exactly what to do, and he didn't like what you did once you did it. So it's just a whole lot more fun when you can just kind of do your own thing and create what you want to create. And a lot of people don't get the chance to do that in life. They end up their whole life working for somebody and under somebody's thumb, and it gets very boring. I started out, I took a body and fender class when I was young in college. I took the class that taught me how to weld and do some body work and all kinds of projects on cars, and that kind of got me started into the metalworking field. Then later on, it just developed from one thing onto another. It just seemed like I had a lot of other things to do besides working on cars, so it just ended up I wanted to do so many hobby things that the cars took back seat to it after so long a time. So I got this old chicken house here, and we started shooting archery in here, and then it just went crazy from there. I don't know why. It started putting up lights and decorating, and it just got to be so much fun, and I had so many friends that just started donating all kinds of arts and crafts and antiques and stuff that it just every week I had to move something because it was full, and you had to go to make room for something else in there. So I've had so many people that donated things to me. I started building a ultralight aircraft. I had already got my pilot's license and was flying Cessna 172s and 210s, and then I had this friend that wanted me to go with him and start building ultralight airplanes. Well, I built 3 of those things, and that last one was a complete from no plans to some plans type situation, so I had to do a lot of the engineering on it, and welding. Everything had to be welded up and covered with fabric and all that, and it was a real blast. So that got me started into it. And then when we brought this house here in Bentley, I got a chance to buy this chicken house, and it was, just an old ugly building, but it had a concrete floor in it, and it was just something, gave me room so I could do just about anything I wanted to do in here. I think the best thing is that you can take the things that you've done all your life, working for other people and in boring jobs, and just take the finer part of it and just make something for yourself, and something that you can really enjoy making. That's the whole key right there, you know. And taking all the trades that I've looked at all my life, you know, the blacksmithing, the sheet metal, the painting, auto, whatever it is, just whatever that you can think of to make that project. It's fun when you can do your own thing with metal or whatever, painting or whatever. Good with that. I don't have very many fingers left after the airplane crash. But I do the best I can, but you know, a lot of it's humorous stuff, and that's a whole lot of the thing, is just doing something that looks kind of neat, that looks old. You know, antiques are just really something to be collected, not thrown away, I think. And people have really given me a good feeling about being in here, and we've really had some nice times in here, and staying focused on it. You know, there's a lot of other things you have to do besides your hobbies, but you gotta. I'm really bad about, once I start something, I can't quit until it's done, you know. And so, you know, you need to really keep your nose to the grindstone and don't forget what you're doing, and just spend the time and the money or whatever you got to do just to get the project done. So I've done blacksmith work. That's a whole lot of fun. You know, building the old tomahawks and swords and knives and just all kinds of old antique stuff, and that's a big art right there in itself. You know, we had the place that I lived in Wichita. We had a whole blacksmith shop out there, and it was just looked like Cowtown out there. You know, we had a blacksmith shop. We had a livery stable building out there, and a barber shop, and they had an old water wheel that I built, you know, and that was by my wife's stained glass shop. And we had big turnouts for stuff there. We had a blacksmith convention and stuff. They came out there, and people brought all their blacksmith, the forges, and just, it was really neat. You know, the lady brought their quilting projects out there, and we had a blast out there at that place. And I built a big old railroad water tower. That thing was huge, big old thing, and it had living quarters in it. I built the whole thing by myself, and it was built out of big old bridge planks and river and telephone poles, and it was a huge big old thing, but it was a lot of fun. I did a lot of things wrong, and you know, you have to redo things, and that's not planning things through as well as you should, and I've done a lot of that, but that's the whole thing, is just keep having it in your mind what you want to do, and just do it. And you know, if it doesn't work, you make it work somehow. You know, that's the whole key, is make your mind. You're doing this to have fun, and that's the whole key. If you can do something and really enjoy it and have fun and go ahead and get the thing done, just do it and really enjoy it. I never did do any real painting when I was younger. I took a couple of little art classes, you know, when I was a youngster, but didn't have any art paints and stuff like that. But since then, my sister-in-law was an artist, and she passed away, and I acquired all of her paints and all that stuff, and you learn a lot when you've got the equipment to do it with, and the paint brushes and the paints, and see some of the things that she's done. If you look around in here, her artwork is all over this building, and she has inspired me an awful lot. My mother-in-law was the same way. She was a great artist, and when she passed away, I got some of her equipment too. So that's how you get a lot of your supplies, and you want to take care of that stuff. This is a stained glass carnival horse, and my wife did that design here several years ago, and I've always really liked that one. And she's also done one here of the Indians and Buffalo Bill over here on the other wall. But she's done some of the biggest stained glass deals for the churches, and great big ones. And she's really done some fabulous work in some of those places. My shop is really equipped well for a small shop. It's not a massive big shop where you have the big press brakes big shears. My shear is a 4-foot foot operated shear. I have a slitting shear that'll cut 10-foot long metal, no problem. I have an 8-foot brake. I have a 4-foot pan brake. I've had about 4 or 5 belt sanders. I have a heliarc welder. I have wire feed welders, acetylene welders. It's kind of funny, you know, we've got all the special welders and everything, but I still enjoy the acetylene welder, that, like the old guys did it, you know, where you take the gas and you melt the rod. That's the old way of doing it, and that's the way I learned it, and it's you always get a good weld that way, but that's what I really enjoy, is kind of the old style stuff. But I also have all kinds of blacksmith tools and forges. It's kind of neat to collect all the old tongs and everything that you need for the blacksmith work, and I've done that over the years and built my own propane forges, and it's a lot of fun to do that. I have an 8-foot brake that has a whole bunch of the old antique dies on it that you can make rolls with, you know, that they used to use the old fancy cornice work on the front of buildings and stuff. And that's what they had to use back in those days. That stuff's probably 100 years old, and ended up with it from this company I used to work for. And yeah, that's basically what it is, you know, all kinds of grinders and, you know, tools like that too. So every subject is different. I very seldom make the same thing twice. I don't like to make the same thing twice. This dance floor in here, I painted this. I painted it all white in here, and then came in and painted this Raging Stallion dance barn thing on the floor. And we've had everybody that's came in. This is a lot of these people in here from the Saddle Club, and this is one of my favorite signs right here. It says, now featuring the Chickendale Dancers. They got Rocco, Jocko, and Gary-O. Gary-O's the fat one. But there's been people from all over the world signing this floor here. All the bars up here are completely full of signatures. It's they've been signing those ever since we opened this place up for parties and everything. I had my plane crash in that ultralight outside there. That's how they undress you in the ambulance. They're not real tidy about it. I had on a snowmobile suit and that sweatshirt and the snowmobile suit, that looked just about as bad as that did. So I put alterations by EMS on that thing, hung it up there. Fireman, and that used to be the sheriff here, Bob Henshaw. Then they gave me the Bentley police medallion there, and the Bentley City of Bentley magnetic sign that goes on there. But all the firefighters and the police have all signed that. I got to get the new chief to sign it because he just now started up here. There are just so many things that most people will throw away, and it might have a piece of curved pipe on it. It might have, you know, just anything on it that when you just sit there and you look at it and think, well, I think I could make something out of that, you know, and it's really, it's fun to do something like that. Take something that's not worth anything to anybody, and it doesn't cost you anything much to do it, hardly, and it just, that's the fun of it. An awful lot of compliments on everything I've done. A lot of these instruments, like the guitar there, it's all plasma cut in. This bass fiddle over here, that was something, you know, just people, and like the chicken back here, people just come in there and, oh, I love that, you know, and it's just, it's satisfying to have people, you know, look at something and really enjoy what you've done. That's, I think that's what really spurs you on to do. You try to refine what you've done in the past, try to do new things. I do a lot of copper work, you know, like this right here. Just get new ideas. Try to keep things halfway simple when you do it. It's really interesting to, like, take a piece of copper and hammer it out, and then take a torch and get it to turn into different colors. It's amazing the colors you can get with copper. And then after you do that, then clear coat it so it stays that color. And it's a lot of fun to watch that stuff just work for you when you know. And every one of them's different. You know, you think you got it down, but it'll surprise you. Here lately, I've kind of slowed down since we got health problems with the family. But I still try to come out, you know. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and enjoying it. You know, I've got the equipment and the drive to do it a lot of times. That's a whole lot of it, just having the drive and want to do it, you know. And that's basically what I'd like to keep doing, the same thing. It's a lot of fun to do that, and that's what I want to keep doing. The thing that I would suggest is that they sit down and they think about what they want to do and do it. Just do it. You don't have to listen to other people's ideas, because it's you doing the things. And if you can think it, you can usually do it. You know, there's a lot of different ways of doing everything, and that's the whole key right there, is having the know-how and the drive, and then just go ahead and do it, and you make yourself follow through with the thing. Get it done, and you'll be happy with what you do.